Hello. So today we are looking at graphing inequalities again, but now they are in standard form. So what that means is that we have to do a little bit of work first. Um, but it's not any work that you're not used to because we used to do this when we were graphing equations anyway. So I want to rewrite this so that it is in slope-intercept form. So basically that means I want to get the y by itself again. So, in this case, I have, oh, hold on. Let me change that if I can figure out how. Oh, there we go. So I have x plus 4y is greater than 8. Okay, so I want to get the y by itself. So I'm going to subtract the x from both sides. And then remember, we want this to be like y equals mx plus b, even though it's not an equal sign. So remember, we used to take that x term and shove it in front. So I'd have negative x, and then I'd write the plus 8 instead of writing 8 minus x, because you always want that x term first. And then I have to go ahead and divide everybody by 4. Make sure you divide everybody by 4. And then to write this, remember this chunk right here, we used to kind of separate the two, and we'd write that as a negative 1/4, and then put the x on the side. And then 8 divided by 4 over here is going to be a positive 2. So now that you have it rewritten in slope-intercept form, now you're ready to graph it just like we did in the last lesson. Okay, so I'm going to start at positive 2, and I'm going to go down 1 over 4. And I'm going to ask myself, should I connect these with a solid line or a dotted line? And if you remember from the last lesson, if you do not have the bar underneath, you're going to use a dotted line. So I will connect these with a dotted line. I'm going to change colors just to see it a little bit better. So let's see, something like this. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, there's my line because it's going to get okay. And then I just have to ask myself, okay, well, what part of the graph do I shade? Do I shade above this or below this? And here's one thing I need to caution you on. Do not go back to the original for this. Okay, in this particular problem, it actually ends up not mattering, but the next one, it matters a lot. So if you're not going to look there, where are you going to look? You're going to look at what you got right here. Okay, you're going to look where y is all by itself. And then I can see from there y is greater than, so that means I want to shade above the line that I just drew. Okay, and that would be my final graph. Don't forget that you can always pick a point that you've shaded over and plug it in. I would plug, if you're going to check it, absolutely plug it into the original over here and make sure that it works there. You don't want to plug it into this because you might have messed up getting to here. Okay, so it's, if you're going to do the check, you might as well go back to the original and see if it works there. Okay, so let's try another one and see if anything else pops up that we need to talk about. Okay, so this one, hang on, give myself a little bit more writing room. Okay, so I've got x minus y is less than or equal to negative 4. So first things first, I got to get the y by itself. So let's minus x minus x. So I have negative y. Remember that negative doesn't go away. And then I'm going to shove that negative x right up in front and then minus 4. Now, you can't stop here because y is not completely by itself. You still have that negative hanging out there. I need y to be 100% by itself. So how am I going to get it that way? If you're saying divide everybody by negative 1, that's a great idea. You could also multiply everything by negative 1, either one. They're both going to accomplish the same thing. But I need you to remember what happens when you multiply or divide an inequality by a negative. Hopefully, you haven't forgotten that when you multiply or divide any inequality by a negative number, your symbol flips. Do you see that? Hold on. Well, hold on. Let me finish writing it. That'd be a positive x now and a plus 4. Look right here. This is where I need to draw your attention. These two signs right there. See how it flopped? Flipped, flop? right? So if you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip that inequality symbol over. Okay, now I'm going to graph what I have there. So let's see. I'll start at positive 4, and then my slope is 1. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Okay, ask myself if I need a solid line or a dotted line. In this case, because I do have that bar underneath, I'm going to use a solid line. So I'll try and use the line tool, see if I can do it without messing up. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, I'll take it. Put some arrows on the ends because it goes on forever. And now you just have to shade. So you don't look at the original, you look over here. And that says y is greater than, so that means I'm going to be shading above the line in this case. Okay. See why it's so important to go to where you got the y by itself? Here, if you look here, y is greater than. You should be shading above. If you had gone back to the original, a lot of people are going to erroneously see that y is less than when it's really not, and they're going to shade below and get that wrong. So please be careful. Always go to your inequality where you already have the y all by itself and go from there. Okay? And as always, if you're not sure, you can take a point that you've shaded over and plug it back into the original, make sure it works. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Ooh! I hope that something is going off in your head right now, and I hope that something is this. If you only have an X or only have a Y, that's a Hoy-Vux problem. So in this case, it's an X. So we'll be dealing with Vux and not Hoy, so we'll get rid of that. So what does that mean? Remember that that means that I'm going to have a vertical line. V stands for vertical at -2. Solid or dotted in this case? Yes, hopefully you're saying solid because I do have that bar underneath. So there's my line. Okay, and then we talked about this in the last video at the very end. There is no above this line or below this line because it's a vertical line. So where are you supposed to shade? Well, you, instead of having an above the line and a below the line, what you have is a right-hand side and a left-hand side. So you're going to shade one of those two. How do you know which one? Well, that's where you go back to this. Read it out loud. It says x is less than or equal to -2. So when you are looking at the x's, which are here, where are they less than -2? They are less than -2 here. Oops, I didn't mean for it to still be on drawing a rectangle. Boop, boop, boop. Here. Those are the ones that are less than -2. So that means I'm going to shade this side. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Again, you can still pick a point, plug it in. If you're just using the x value, it should be an x that is less than -2 if you picked a point that you shaded over. Okay, last one. Let's try it. Alrighty. 4x plus 3y is less than or equal to 12. Let's get that y by itself. We'll minus the 4x. You've got 3y is less than or equal to, stick that -4x right in there, and then plus 12. Let's see if I can fit it. Ooh! And then we're going to divide everything by 3. Okay, so y is less than or equal to, we're going to write that as -4/3, and then the x on the side. And then 12 divided by 3 is just a +4. All right, so hopefully you got the same thing. Let's go ahead and graph this. We're going to start at a +4. And we're going to follow that slope down, forward to the right 3. So that should be where our points are approximately. Solid or dotted? You tell me. I'm assuming you said solid. Good job. So put it, oh, I got on the first try. That one was so good. All right, so I'm here and now I have to shade one region of my graph, either above the line or below the line. So where am I going? I am going here and I'm reading this and it says y is less than or equal to. So that means I'm going to shade below. And that's it. Okay, give it a shot. Let us know if you have any questions.